All right, about to get it started. Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with our Sunday evening market update. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. All right, happy Memorial Day to anyone and everyone who has lost someone precious here in the United States. I was thinking about just waiting until tomorrow night to do the stream, but figured I'd go ahead and do it, even though the majority of the markets will not be open, obviously, for the holiday. But we're gonna rip through everything, keep it pretty quick today, and if you got any questions or recommendations or requests, feel free to pop them over there. But we can just do like a little bit of a recap. Essentially 10-year, nothing really has changed here. We kind of poked out the bottom of our little channel support, but more importantly, we're still well above our key support level, which is that Fibonacci zone. So we would expect this to just keep on grinding, keep oscillating inside this range until we eventually get the push up to 2.5. Let's jump over real quick and take a look at the DXY. So dollar obviously broke down from the channel, but most important thing is that we don't take out this level on a longer time frame down here at like 89. But we're finding some support here. We are getting the hard buy coming out of the bearish control zone. Multiple green histograms in a row on the daily. Let's look at a longer time frame here. I know everybody's getting extremely bearish on the dollar. There's big talks of massive amounts of stimulus and blah, 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 blah. But more importantly, what I would actually really like to see here and would make me extremely bullish on the dollar is if we actually sold off lower, took out this bottom right here on the weekly, which is basically where we like double bottomed at just above. And then we would have 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence. Essentially we have a low right here, which corresponds to that low. We have a lower low in price action right here and a higher low right here. And then once again, a third low on the dollar here, but, higher low on the indicator oscillator. That would honestly be best case scenario, I think, for a strong dollar and the move back up higher, which is what I'm still expecting. Honestly, this is like the inverse of what Bitcoin just did right before it massively got smashed down. The triple divergence is very, very powerful signal. And, we have the hard sell followed by this move down here. Then we have the hard buy, and that's our first one. Then we have the hard sell once again. Then we have the hard buy. That's our second one. And then, once again, hard sell, moving back down to the bottom of the range, about to enter into the bearish control zone. And then again, I'd like to see this actually show a little bit more weakness through this week. And then at the end of the week, actually close lower. And then that would give us the triple bullish divergence that I'm expecting, followed by a strong move back up to a new high on the dollar here. Obviously there's all kinds of like money printing and all this stuff going on, but it's very complicated. It's not just like there's a bunch of extra dollars and all of a sudden everything's weak. I'm not going to get into a bunch of like complicated topics that we've already discussed hundreds of times. So Dow Jones, basically just grinding out this same level, consolidation. We got the hard buy signal, still well below the slope line. Let's see how that plays out. S&P up here testing all-time highs, getting the hard buy signal, barely sold off at all. Again, way below slope line, but multiple green histograms. Anybody knows that this symbol right here, this signal right here, typically ends like this with a rejection off of the slope line and then sells back off. And then if we come back up to it again, potentially break through it and put in a new high. Nasdaq, I mean, all these charts are essentially just going to correspond to what is taking place with the dollar and rates, in my opinion. But I expect the traditional markets to just keep melting up until they don't. Nasdaq obviously has reclaimed key level of support for this ascending triangle and is once again, looking bullish after just getting absolutely hammered. The Russell, this thing was looking real bad and did exactly what we're talking about, where if we just kept grinding out this area for long enough and going sideways, we could invalidate the bearish head and shoulders But we are still running back into that same support line here. So as where like the Nasdaq has reclaimed it, the Russell is essentially just getting rejected off of that slope line, which was the previous two lows right there. So we'll have to see how this one plays out. It did cross back above the slope line. Give it plenty of time to essentially like reset through this area. ICLN, clean energy. Same type of situation. It's trying to reclaim a key area, but we're running into double resistance. We have the red slope line here, and then we have the purple slope line here, and then we have essentially what looks like a potential for rejection candle. We are entering into the bullish control zone. We have multiple green histograms and positive slope line. If we do get the break, which is looking more and more likely at this time, that should give us at least a move up to the 0.5 at like 26.67. XLE, up at the top of the range once again. Basically just bullish consolidation like we've been expecting from a lot of these things. XLU, this is the utilities. We have just flipped the slope over negative, which is obviously the beginning usually of a longer correction. So while we're consolidating once again at the top of the range, this is not looking particularly bullish in my opinion. Utilities. XLF, financial sector, this thing is basically just melting up. We're up at the new all-time high, or at the highs rather, potentially breaking out here as we have like essentially a triple top, and we basically broke above it and then sold back off down to it for like a bullish retest. About to get the cross to the upside off of like that 50 zone right here. Couple green histograms in a row, about to cross this potentially back to the upside. Financial sector looks strong. XLI, this is our industrial sector. Again, retesting the highs over here. Hard buy signal, multiple green histograms. We did just get the bearish cross and slope line to the downside, but there's no reason this thing isn't just going to keep pushing to the upside. U.S. oil, just get an idea what crude's doing. Back up here, breaking through, essentially coming back down for the retest of the highs. Hard buy signal. Just flipped the slope line over blue and multiple green histograms. This looks extremely bullish. Definitely looks like we're about to get some continuation to the upside here on oil. And obviously that corresponds with oil prices going up here in the United States as well, which we are obviously seeing. But it's also a holiday weekend, so you would expect that as the more likely people are to travel, typically the prices will go up accordingly. Tesla. Tesla is just getting that move back up that we've been expecting. I do still expect it to get up here closer to like that $700 again. We're about to get the 821 cross back to the upside. Finally touch the 200 exponential and simple moving averages as we've been expecting. We front ran it here, came back down, put in a higher low, and then sold back down, took out the previous low, but we did find support on the 200. We now have the hard buy signal. We now have multiple green histograms, flipping the slope back over. We'll have to see if we get continuation, but at this point in time, looks more likely than not that we are in fact going to get that move back to the upside, at least back to the 236 or the purple slope line right here, which is 697. So, again, we can just put a little box in here. That's where I'm expecting us to get up to. We'll see if we hit our target perfectly. Again, like we did last time, to the up and downside, obviously. But again, this is still a bearish pattern. It basically looks like we're just putting in a big descending triangle. So, NEO got that move up. We have basically broken through the top of the range now. So we had essentially this purple slope line that was holding us back, and we have now broken through that. We do still have the red line as well. So we have one top here, one lower high right here, and then potentially a third lower high. If we do get continuation or break of this range, we'll have to start looking at our other key Fibonacci levels as to where we're going to top out, potentially here at the 786, potentially get a higher high at the 886. But, indicator oscillators are building momentum and moving to the upside. We did get a breakdown from that key level right here, which essentially tagged the 236 almost perfectly. So we'll have to see if we can get continuation. But the Chinese markets look like they're trying to grind out a bottom, at least for now, temporarily. Alibaba. You guys know how I feel about Alibaba. I really do think that this thing has basically bottomed out. I mean, we could see quite a bit of sideways action here for a while, but, we've hit my target. And if my count on the Elliott wave structure is correct, we really don't want to see this thing go any lower than the top of the 1 with the bottom of the 4 in blue here. We've essentially finished out our 5-wave structure in green, which is the 5-wave structure that composes the 3 here in blue, at which point in time, if we do get our bottom grind out right here and then continuation to the upside, we essentially expect our targets to get hit. And, we have our entries still in play right here. So essentially what we're looking at is potential for a 91% move to the upside to top out the 5 at the 1.618, or potentially top out of the 2.618 at 191%, close to a little over $600. So I love the risk reward on this trade, 5.4 to 1 with a 16.8% risk. So this thing looking more and more tempting by the day. This is probably, I have a feeling these Chinese stocks are going to be the trade of the week for me. So we'll talk about the last couple weeks trades and how they're doing as well. So Baidu, very similar. Chart is very, very similar. Same type of thing. We are now building momentum. We got the hard buy coming out of the bearish control zone. We have multiple green histograms in a row. Flip the slope line back over blue. And these are positions here, 28% to the upside, 9 to the downside. Basically a 4 to 1 risk reward ratio. And then, our higher target up here, basically just a bearish retracement, internal retracement to the 786. 59.8% to the upside with the potential drawdown of 9.5%. Once again, I'll take these trades all day long as risk reward is phenomenal. PayPal, basically has broken out of our key resistance here to the upside, hit that 0.5. The previous time we topped out was the 618. Here we're topping out potentially at the 0.5, but we are essentially breaking from this resistance area right here. So we'll have to see how this plays out. We are now up in the bullish control zone, multiple green histograms to the upside. Slope line is flipping over. So a lot of these tech stocks are looking very, very similar, but we do have to be careful because this still looks a lot like a descending triangle is being put into play here. Apple, I've been talking about the weakness in Apple for some time and how I expected us to break down from this area. We're now breaking down. It's weakening. You got your Cathie Woods bearish on Apple. You've got downgrades on Apple. This thing looks like it's probably going to continue showing weakness. We do have the hard buy. We do have multiple green histograms, but now we're flipping them back over red here. The most important thing right here is the slope line is blue and to the upside, but the histograms are still well below it. That typically results in a rejection. So even if we do get some continuation off the 200 simple or exponential moving average, which we front ran back here, I would expect this thing to get rejected down and at least touch it. We did make it down to the 382. So overall, this thing has gotten a little bit more of a bearish move considering. But let me flip this over here. Before we front ran the 200 exponential and simple moving averages, now we finally come down and touch them. What I would expect to happen now is after 2 week bounces off of them and then a third retest to come down to the 200 exponential at like 119. I still think there's going to be a better entry point on Apple as I think overall Apple reflects the strength of the Nasdaq. So while a lot of the overall underperforming stocks in the Nasdaq composite have seen a little bit of more bullishness, so the overall index looks better, I think the big names and overperformers are looking more weak. Well, I don't think that it's true. Zoom is still potentially going to finish out our trade here, 38% to the upside. We'll have to see. We're getting rejected off 200 exponential, it's at least temporarily, but we still have the 200 simple target and the top of our channel. In the event that we do get the break at the top of the channel, trade number 2 comes into effect with our 11 to 1 risk reward ratio and potentially an 86% move to the upside from our entry down here at 270. So Zoom is looking good. Bullish control zone, multiple green histograms, blue slope line. But still operating within a range inside of that channel. So Pinterest, Pinterest has found some support down here off of the 236 exactly perfectly, which tells us potentially that this has topped out. We are in now a descending channel or slightly broadening wedge depending on how you're looking at it. We got that perfect rejection off the top of the range and called that out. Now here we are off the 236 finding support. Still, I would expect continuation back to the upside, potentially back up to the red resistance at like $81. We'll have to see though. We did finally touch our 200 exponential and simple moving averages, about to get the 8 and 21 cross to the upside. Bullish control zone, green histograms, blue slope. I don't see any reason why we can't make it up to $80. That still has quite a bit of a potential move up here, 25% to the upside. Bumble, this was one of our trades from last week. Obviously doing quite well already. We took the entry down here at $40 and already made it back up to $49. It's like 25% to the upside. We did get a slight rejection off of the 21 moving average, but closed above it. Looks like if we can get continuation or consolidation here, we'll get the 821 cross and potentially that retest, and our trade playing out with a 42% move to the upside. Looking good. Hard buy signal out of the bearish control zone, multiple green histograms. I mean, this thing was just too juicy not to take a stab at it. So, and we already had hit the measure move perfectly. So definitely looking bullish. If we break through this area, you know, obviously going to take some profits when we get up here to like the 50, 55, or potentially to that failed support. Expecting it to act as resistance when we come back for the retest. But I don't see any reason why we're not going to at least get up close to that area around like 55 bucks. But obviously doing quite well, as this was one of the main trades from last week, and obviously still in it. Airbnb, you know, this is another one. You know, we basically got a slight breakup here and are coming back down. I'm looking at this as essentially like a retest of the break above the 8. Multiple green histograms in a row, bearish control zone, hard buy signal. Looks very similar to Bumble, although instead of breaking down to a lower level from that previous low that we put in back here, we're just finding support at the 886 perfectly, and I would expect continuation back to the upside. Still expecting this to get up at least to our 0.5 target here at $163, possibly up to the 382 or higher at 175. But again, you can't beat this risk reward ratio. At least 2 to 1 to the upside is the minimum I like to take. Airbnb looking good. Dash, you know, still expecting, this is DoorDash, to come back up to the top of the channel and potentially top out for our, you know, bearish retracement A, B, and C. But, you know, still potential move back to the upside here for a couple more percent. We are finding some resistance at the 90. Entering into the bullish control zone, multiple green histograms in a row. We got the blue slope line, you know, hard buy signal coming out of the bearish control zone. I mean, all these things pretty much look the same. So, Peloton, this is honestly overperforming what I was expecting. You know, I thought we were going to get rejected right here at that 98 zone. Came down to 80 bucks. Got quite a bit of buying come in out of the bearish control zone, hard buy signal to the upside, now in the bullish control zone. Bunch of green histograms in a row, blue slope line to the upside. So we'll have to see. Once we broke through the 200 exponential, we shot straight up here, got rejected off the 200 simple. We'll have to see if we can get back above that. So still overall not a fan of Peloton, at least at these valuations, but you know, showing some clear strength off of the lows back here at 80 bucks. So SMH semiconductors, you know, basically, you know, this thing is just coming back up. Essentially, the question is we've put in now a higher low here. Are we going to put in a higher high or a lower high? Potentially going to top out at 786 or 886. But if we do come back up here above that 886 for a retest, it's going to look like either we're going to get a triple top here and come back down for another higher low. You know, but, you know, we talked about this a while back. Basically looks like an ascending triangle. Which is obviously a bullish pattern, breaks out to the upside typically 2/3 of the time. So if we do get the move back up here, I would expect it to fill out the range a little longer. Typically see these patterns break out like 66 to 75% of the way through them. So I would expect a little bit more oscillation inside the range before we finally get our move up to our target up here at the 2.618 at $324. You know, at which point in time, you know, we could top out anywhere between there though, like 289. So, you know, looking good though, but I would expect it to just kind of fill out this range in the meantime, at least short term. ARK, we saw basically like, you know, another move back up on these ARK stocks, you know, looking extremely weak. Basically barely were able to get above the 200 exponential, getting rejected off the 200 simple. We are showing some strength now out of the bearish control zone, hard buy signal move to the upside, multiple green histograms in a row, blue slope, same yada yada yada. Basically just operating inside of this potential channel to the downside. You know, doesn't look bad. We basically found support down here at the 377, got our move back up. The real question is now, are we just going to put in another lower high, or is this thing going to break out? In which case, if we do break out to the upside, you know, we could get a nice measure move. Does that measure move mean that we're going to like all of a sudden flip bullish long term on ARK and Cathie Wood will be back in the game? I doubt it. We'll probably just get rejected at a different, you know, different lower high from that top point right here. But these underperformed extremely poorly on the last bounce up here. Didn't even get up to our target and then broke down from it. So are we just going to come up here, get rejected, and move down again? Or are we going to get the move to the upside? We'll have to see. but you know, I wouldn't get too overly ambitious in the ARK stocks, at least not for now, or ETFs, I should say. And most of them are performing about the same. I can't remember which one is like performing slightly better, but they all look like shit. And then shooting star candle here at the top. So potential rejection, maybe 821 potential cross to the upside. Last time it got rejected. You know, also without getting too overly bullish on these tech stocks, let's just keep in mind that these things look like shit overall on the weekly. TradingView has been acting funny. I don't know who else is getting that, but essentially we got that weekly cross on the 8 and 21, so definitely not looking overly bullish. GME got the breakout of our key resistance level right here. Got half our measure move up here, and then a bearish engulfing candle. Are we just filling the gap though before we get continuation back to the 886 and our potential target of $360? Looks like it. We're up in the bullish control zone. Bunch of green histograms in a row above the slope line. Looks like we're getting ready to flip it over blue. So definitely potential for that continuation to the upside, but you do not want to get stuck holding the bag on this one because GME is a big pile of shit. Microsoft still looking good, strong, moving up here, found support off the 89. Hard buy signal coming out of you know, bearish control zone. This is a little bit alarming though. We are well below that slope line. We could easily see continuation and then get back above it and put in a new all-time high, but I don't love this. We are getting 821 cross back to the upside. You know, I want to see how this plays out though. You know, if we're going to get continuation, we're going to be in blue sky breakout, so it's not going to matter anyway. I'm not looking to enter this, not at these levels. I would rather buy off of a key moving average out of the bearish control zone or something like that than just speculate what could be a potential rejection coming in here. AMC, I know everybody's like going crazy on this AMC and their move up to $36, but we did get a massive rejection off of that back down to $26. Look, AMC is a total piece of shit. It's a meme stock. You know, movie theaters are never going to come back in droves like people expect them to. It will literally never happen. You know, I would rather bet on drive-in movie theaters coming back than actual movie theaters coming back. I think people have gotten too used to not going to movies. I don't think people want to be cramped up for 2 hours in a movie theater anyway. I think the only way that movie theaters make an actual resurgence in real life is if they allow people to start like drinking and smoking pot at them, because I think people would probably rather just pay for a movie at their house and smoke weed and get drunk and chill than go to a movie theater, overpay for drinks and snacks and stuff like that. It's just a crap meme stock. You know, I do expect, obviously, Memorial Day is a big time when movie theaters normally would gross like millions or billions of dollars in the industry. But, you know, I think this move is sort of like the quote unquote like reopening trade of the AMC. Keep in mind, this thing is not even taking out its previous all-time high. It basically has just topped out at that same level again and gotten a massive rejection. There's a reason that this, in my opinion, was in a massive downtrend since 2015, and I would expect that to happen. I don't think anything has changed fundamentally. I don't think anything has changed technically that makes this stock worth more. If anything, it's probably worth less, and this is just some short squeeze or like Dogecoin moon rip. AMC is a total piece of shit, and whoever gets stuck holding the bag on this thing when it goes back down to $2 is probably going to take their own life. So just make sure that it's not you, because I don't want that to happen to any of my followers or subscribers, or just even anybody listening to this right now. But yeah, AMC, total piece of shit. All right, ripping on through here. Gold, we're definitely up near our targets, almost at the potential for our triple top here. I'm expecting this to go up slightly higher and get rejected at that $2,000 level. We could potentially get our rejection at 1920. You know, this is basically just like the FOMO, you know, inflation trade. You know, I love gold. I love silver. I hold gold. I hold silver. I'm massively bullish on them long term as we like devalue world currencies all over the world. And there's only a couple real monies on, like in existence, gold being one of them and the oldest with the longest track record. And also, you know, limited supply, massive sustainability. You know, once it's mined out of the ground, it does not cost any money to maintain it. But is it topping out? I mean, we're at the bullish control zone up here, potentially going to top out. You know, definitely not buying at these levels. The premiums are through the roof I shouldn't even say that. I mean, they're higher than they have been throughout this whole entire period now, while we're like almost at our all-time high level. There is extreme resistance in these levels as well. After that like huge move to the upside here, you know, is gold topping out? I think it's definitely getting to the levels where it's potentially going to top out, at least for now. I do expect it to go, you know, much higher in the long run. There's definitely some arguments that it could go much, much higher, like to, you know, 3 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand. But does it look like it's going to do that off this move right now? I don't think so. And you know what? Let's take a little extra time on gold right now, because there's definitely like just a little part of me that just loves like crushing everyone's like hopes and dreams. Let's look at this little area right here. I shouldn't say crushing everyone's, crushing dumbass moon boys who are late to the parties, hopes and dreams. So we had a massive run up here. We topped out. We came back down and basically broke down from that level, found support here, and then got to move back up to essentially what amounted to a 1 top, 2 top, and then potential triple top. Let's look at our previous, you know, all-time high on gold and see if we see anything similar. So we break out to a new high. We come down. We put in a top. We put in a second top. We break down from that top, come down, put in a bearish pattern, come back up, retest it for a 1, 2, 3 triple top, and then get continuation to the downside. So wait, just in case, let's even do, you know what we could do here? Should we do like a bars pattern? And I can't remember what's at. Where the hell is that bars pattern at? I thought it was right there. It's been a while since I've put one of these up here. Who remembers where that damn bars pattern is? Anybody in the chat? Isn't it right here? Damn, I really can't remember where it is. I thought there was like one more thing right in here with the bars pattern. Oh, here it is. There we go. So yeah, like from the top right here, let's just look at like this area right there. I'm going to make this a little bit brighter. And then we'll zoom back out. So all I'm doing is basically like cloning this portion of the move right here. And then I want to just compare it to like what's taking place right now, just for like sort of a reference. It's not going to like fit on here perfectly. It never does. But it at least give us like a rough idea as to like what we could potentially expect. So like if we line up the initial top right here with the beginning of our bars pattern, which was that previous top, and then I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to just like shrink this down just to get a rough idea, like the similarity of the move here. It's never going to be perfect, but we can kind of see what we're looking at. Basically looks, you know, somewhat similar right here. We have like the top comes back down. We put in a top right here, comes back down, put in a second top right here, which is exactly what we did right now. Then we come back down here again. Then we come back up and we put in a third top right here at just so happens to be that key red resistance level, which was the previous all-time high. You know, so that would be us basically just coming up slightly higher. You know, right here, basically getting our measure move where I expect us to top out, and then all of a sudden it just rolls over and dies. And then let's look at how that lines up with our previous support. This key support line was from the bottom back here at $1,000, and then our retest back here at $1,100. That was a massive ascending triangle. This is where I got extremely bullish on gold. The breakout at 1,300. Once we got that breakout, we came up and put in a new all-time high. So this bars pattern, which was the previous one right here, you know, selling back off, and it actually came down slightly lower. I only did like part of the bars move. But where does it line up with? It lines up perfectly with like the 618 retracement, the 0.5 retracement, that ascending slope line support right here. You know, look, I'm just not ready to get like overly bullish on gold for like some massive move to the upside. Does this have to play out? No, but there's an awful lot of similarity when you start looking at like potential of, you know, what would be a triple top right here at a slightly lower high at the previous all-time high here in red, like resistance. Careful on this one. That's all I'm saying. All right, so that's gold. Let's take a look at silver next. You know, silver is basically, we have the top here, we have a second top. You know, we've been expecting this to come back up to the top here at like 30 bucks. Premiums once again are through the roof. The world is convinced that we're all out of silver. If I was a, you know, person that had silver for sale, I would not want to sell it right now, or if I did, I'd sell it for a premium. So that creates like essentially, you know, less selling, and then all of a sudden there's more buying coming in. More people are bullish on silver. More people think it's going to the move. So that creates extra demand. So when there's less supply because people don't want to sell it because they're convinced it's going higher, and there's more demand because more people want to buy it because we're printing money and they want to be like protected, and there's like all this EV potential, like future moves for silver and everything, and all these like crazy silver targets, people get extremely bullish on it. That's like basically like recipe for disaster in my opinion, as I think this is going to, you know, it's going to do whatever gold does. So you know, we have to wait and see, but I think a lot of people are going to get wrecked buying silver at $28 with like $10 plus premiums on it. You know, I wouldn't want to be paying a like 25 to 33% premium on something that could take potentially like 30 years to reach its previous all-time high. This was the last time we hit like 50 bucks back here was in 2011, and the time before that when we hit 50 bucks was back here in 1980. So, you know, 30 years apart. So do you really want to get stuck waiting on this thing for what could potentially be like 2026 or something like that? I mean, I don't. But I mean, you know, I bought all my silver at lower prices. So could we potentially come back up here and take out the all-time high and get this massive move? Could we potentially fulfill our destiny and, you know, become one with the force and get this gigantic cup and handle from 1980 to play out, and the measure move up to like $90 or $120 or whatever? I mean, yes, potentially, but is it going to happen in the next couple months or even couple years? Probably not, if I had to guess. Probably not. But I definitely think there's possibility for that $90, for that $125, or for that $521. Matter of fact, I'm betting on it, but am I betting on it happening anytime soon? No, I'm really not. I mean, look, I can come on here and tell you it's going there tomorrow. We got an ascending triangle. It's looking good. It's looking juicy. But I think more likely than not, we're going to get rejected here. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'll be happy if I'm wrong. I'm obviously a huge owner of silver and gold, physical. But let's look at the Zigzag chart, gold to silver ratio. You know, we got the breakout basically from two key levels. So we have this, you know, massively descending wedge right here, and then we have a smaller wedge here with the orange top versus the red top. The red top we have broken out of slightly, and then we're finding resistance consistently at the orange resistance line right here. Come back down for potentially our bullish retest. Getting ready. We've now broken out of the orange line here, and now we're getting ready to put in our measure move up to 83, or potentially as high as 87, or even up here to the 0.5 at like 90. We're at like 68 right now, so that means that silver is going to you know, go up less than gold, or go down more than gold, or do nothing while gold goes up, or go down while gold goes sideways. So this chart right here is telling me that the likelihood of a breakout, if gold breaks out, silver is going to break out too, and it's probably going to break out exponentially. So that's not what this chart is saying. That would mean this rolls over and just sells off. If silver breaks out and gold does not break out, or gold breaks out less, this again would be us like rolling over here. So the likelihood of this chart being, if this chart is correct, this tells us that gold is going to go up faster than silver, or silver is going to go down faster than gold. So this chart right here is an extra canary in the coal mine, telling us that the likelihood of a breakout is extremely unlikely unless gold just goes absolutely fucking parabolic. Which what would fundamentally cause gold to just all of a sudden go parabolic when the chart looks bearish? Like central banks like buying a ton of gold, revaluing gold at multiple thousands of dollars to go back to a gold reserve currency. Don't think that's probably going to happen. I think it's more likely that gold gets rejected and rolls over, and then silver gets crushed, and all the people that were buying silver at like ridiculous premiums capitulate and then sell their silver to somebody like me at a loss, you know, much lower than they bought it for. The platinum chart, you know, platinum basically, let me turn off all this stuff. Platinum basically was operating inside of this channel right here, and then it's operating inside of an even more massive channel right here, potentially putting in a 1, 2, 3, coming down 4R4 here, hitting our key target area at the blue line support right here. We are finding support. You know, I did buy some Platinum. I am expecting to move at least back to the upside. But again, you know, we could very easily break down from this range or break up to the top of the level here. But we have to be careful with this one. I think Platinum's extremely undervalued and definitely probably a better buy than you know, any of the other industrial metals right now. If you look at Platinum's ratio to gold or Platinum's ratio to palladium, you know, it even strengthens that case further. I think there's very high likelihood Platinum's at $2,000 in the next like couple years. But again, this is a long game. These metals are long game plays. But if we look at the broader picture on Platinum, previous all-time high was up here at $2,300, came down to the 236 retracement right here, bounced all the way back up to the 886, 236.5, 236, and then came back up to the 382, broke down to the bottom of the range. That was our all-time bottom right here. So it tells, or like cycle bottom, tells me this thing has probably bottomed out. Does that mean that we can't just as easily do one of two things? Come back down and retest the 236 and just put in a higher low right here at like 800 bucks? It's definitely a possibility. More likely than not, though, I think it would come back down to retest like the top of the one at like $962. I think that's very likely, or $960 plus dollars. But more likely than not, I think we end up here at least retesting the 786 or 886. Parked there. I'm going to let's see, Platinum looking good for the long game. I think definitely has some possibility for it. I'm going to take a quick break and come back in 5, and then we'll finish ripping through the rest of this stuff here. What's up, Bubblies? Good to see you, Sean. Popcorn, yeah, popping popcorn in the chat. Good evening, R-Kits. Good to see you as well. And everybody else out there that is creeping in the shadows silently. Feel free to say hi while I take a quick break. Oh, excuse me. All right, Uranium URA on the daily. It's K-Ritz. Yeah, I know, right? I probably just said that like 1,000 times. URA on the daily. I mean, gotta be careful with these uranium charts right now. Potentially topping out, but overall, looks strong. basically just like sideways consolidation. But these things have, I mean, in my opinion, like long term, you know, you really can't beat the potential that these things have. I mean, let's see, this one's been going down since 2011. I mean, this is like the super long game. But you know, all green histograms the whole time, it just gets absolutely crushed with blue above the slope line. You know, back in uh, on the monthly right now in the bullish control zone for the first time ever. It's not unrealistic to think that this thing could have like a sideways consolidation before we test our next retracement level. But like the internal retracement on the 0.5 fib is like 30 bucks, still like 50% to the upside. And the 618 is up here at like 43. So, you know, that's still over 100% move to the upside. But again, this is that long game trade. You guys know I'm obviously extremely bullish on uranium, but could take some time before we get there. UEC, again, you know, up here at those key levels. I'm going to switch out to a longer time frame once again. You know, this is the same thing. This is back here in 2007. This is 2011. 2007 is when this topped out. This corresponds with like, I want to say that was uranium's actual top, like $140. And then it sold off basically down to, you know, where we're at now. Like, you know, uranium price at this time was like 140 bucks. I think that was the top back then, 2007. Yeah, it sounds right. And then now uranium, actual uranium per pound is like 30 bucks. So, you know, the potential move from 30 back to like 140, you know, is essentially like a 5x move. So I would expect like these uranium mining stocks to go like absolutely parabolic. But at this point in time, if we just take a look at like the Fibonacci retracements of that internal retracement, UEC is obviously like much more bullish. We came down here and bottomed out, came back, retested the 786 level, bounced off it perfect. Also happened to be the 236 of the retracement. We're now up here bumping our head on the 786. So, you know, a move back down to either the 618 at like $2 or potentially lower to like $1.23 to the top of the one. That would be our 1, 2, 3, 4 comes down. You know, potentially. I don't want you. I want you. Potentially back down like this low. You know, again, this is that long game chart. This could take a long time to play out. So, you know, this is like, I don't want to say it's dead money, but you guys know, obviously, I am massively bullish on uranium and silver. But, you know, I'm massively bullish on them like 5, 10, 25 years out. I'm not massively bullish on them like tomorrow because some people on like Reddit are like buying up all the uranium and there's no more uranium. That was a silver joke, obviously. So CCJ, Cameco, you know, same thing. You know, last of the uranium stocks we're looking at. And I look at these ones specifically just because I'm invested in them. We're bumping our head right now on the monthly 200 simple. When we hit the 200 exponential, we sold off pretty heavy and then we went parabolic after that. So it's not unrealistic to think that we might like push slightly up above the 200 simple here, like $22, $23, $24, get a slight rejection, come back down, retest one of these key levels, and then get that next parabolic move up here. You know, are we going to come all the way back down to like the 382 at like 1170? I don't think we'll come down that low. You know, again, we have flipped over the slope. Blue here, we have all green histograms on the monthly. We have left the bearish control zone, got the hard buy signal. We're inside the bullish control zone now. I mean, this thing looks like it's going to go parabolic. But again, when is it going to go parabolic? Could be months, could be years. Previous all-time high, $52. Current price action, $20. So, you know, I mean, I'm just going to pop it in here, assuming. You know, assuming we get a potential retest of like the 236 or something like that, and that we are in fact topping out right now, you know, we could put like a 23% like stop loss on this trade or in place mentally. You know, 71% move back up basically to where we're at from a sell-off, or 50% move back to where we're at from a sell-off. But in all reality, I would expect it to hit like one of these key targets. And we could do like Fibonacci extensions off of basically like the range from the bottom here to the 1, to the 2, to the potential 3 right here, from the 4 to a potential 5 somewhere up here. We could also put like some, you know, Fibonacci retracement targets in place as well. from our top right here to our bottom of this cycle. And that would give us basically the 618 is where I would expect us to top out right now, which is like 2250, and then potential top, after that would be like the 786 up here for an internal retracement of like $33. So, definitely some serious potential here for a nice move. But again, this is not your Reddit Trader Express move. USAS, this was our trade from 2 weeks ago. Just a quick little recap on this bad boy. We are basically inside of, let me switch to a longer time frame. We're basically inside of this massive pattern right here. And, basically have a flag pattern after a massive sell-off from the top to the bottom. We came up here the first time and topped out at the 618 in red right here. Came back down, found support at the 236. Came back up, topped out at the 0.5, 236.5. Found support here at the bottom of the range. Monthly closed, and where did it close at? Back inside of the pattern, which is why we're taking that move right here off of our white 618, which is from the previous top right here, bottom right here to the previous top right here, 618 retracement, at which point in time I would expect to move up to the 382, or more realistically the white 236 at the top of the range. This obviously got bought up fairly aggressively, but is nice little bearish move here for the last 5 months on USAS. Hard sell signal now. So, there's definitely some things saying that we shouldn't be taking a trade off this level. But at the same time, I like how this looks. I like that support level. I like that we sold off and closed, broke down from here, and then got a bullish move back up. And I'm expecting this move still to play out. But we do have to be cautious of it because it could very easily break out of the bottom. But we did get the buy signal followed by the sell signal, which if we get any more positive price action to the upside on this, I would expect this to cross back again, and then we would have the buy, sell, buy out of the bearish control zone. That's our divergence signal at the bottom of the range at key support based on our flag pattern, based on our Fibonacci extension or Fibonacci retracement targets. I think we'll have to see how this plays out. And this is nice too because this is a hedge against the actual price action on gold. Because obviously I own a bunch of gold and silver. And then if this breaks down here, my gold and silver will go down in value and I will, lose out on this trade and then I will buy more. If this breaks up from here, I obviously own a bunch of gold and silver and that will go up in price, as will this trade go back up here. And, either way, looks good. So we'll have to see. We are set up for potential inflation, but you guys know that I am massively expecting deflationary targets. But again, that's our weekly chart on this thing. Still showing quite a bit of weakness on the weekly. But if we flip over to the daily, we're in the bearish control zone. We got a massive stab down here from the knife and a bunch of green histograms in a row. I think there's a high likelihood we're going to push back up here and get that move back to the upside. So, but we'll have to see. It's already up a little bit. I think we got in at $1.64 on this, and it's at $1.74. So, we're at least not underwater, but, we have to wait and see how this develops. So, silver juniors. These things are basically retesting the high up here. Potential move to play out. We'll have to wait and see on this. Same thing. Up in the bullish control zone. Bunch of green histograms in a row. Blue slope line. I like this on the long term. We're basically bunch of green histograms. Getting high levels up here. Flipping the slope back over blue. Retesting. Just like we did right here. Started selling off on the Stoch. Found support. Moved back up. Started selling off on the slope. Stoch, found support, keep moving up here. There's definitely some potential that this thing could break out and we could see new all-time highs, or at least to move back up to like $21, somewhere around there. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, all these miners are just going to do whatever the underlying asset does, just exponentially. So First Majestic, we've got that long chart on First Majestic. If we switch over to a longer time frame, this is the move we were looking for. Again, giant flag pattern. We got the breakout of the top of the flag right here. I'm going to turn it off real quick. Breakout at the top of the flag. Got a retest. Took our entry off of that support level down here in the green box. Have our trade set up in place. We were obviously not expecting this to break back down here. We were obviously not running a 48% stop loss. But, the potential move to the 1.618 back here at $120 definitely gives us a nice target and new all-time high, and potential move not only is the measure move going to take us up here to like 35 bucks? But that's our 1.618 Fibonacci extension and new all-time high. So, but again, you know, if gold and silver fail, this thing's just going to get wrecked right here. Not wrecked, but yeah, probably wrecked actually. Probably come back down here like 7 bucks. Switch that back over to a shorter time frame. All right, and then here's our trade from, what is this, 2 weeks ago now, guys? Or was this last week? I can't remember when we took the pot stock entries. I mean, I've been accumulating for the last couple weeks, but definitely bought more last week regardless. So this is THCX. Again, we took the entry down here off the 0.5 at like 1550. It's already up like over 10% at 1785. Running into some resistance moving averages here. About to get the 821 cross. Bunch of green histograms in a row. Hard buy signal coming up here. I expect these things to start testing like our key, Fibonacci targets for at least the internal retracement. I'm not quite excited enough to like say this is just going to break out all of a sudden to new all-time highs. But, you know, we're at the 236 right now. Could see a slight rejection come in here. But the 382 next target is 20 bucks. After that, $22. After that, 23.70. You guys get the point. We obviously have some nice trades in here for potential moves and Fibonacci extension targets up to the 1.618, 50 bucks, or 2.618, 100 bucks. I'm massively bullish on pot stocks also, because if we switch out to longer time frames, here on the daily, you'll see we got above our 200 exponential and simple moving average right back here and got like extremely bullish on these things, back at basically like 11 bucks and then went parabolic after that. So now here we are just retesting the 200 exponential and simple and also our 377 moving average. So again, I expect continuation on these, and these are obviously, I really like the pot stocks too, because, while they're obviously somewhat correlated to the markets, this has been going down since February of 2021, THCX, but these things are extremely like uncorrelated to traditional markets. If we switch over to, we'll look at YOLO first, and then I'll show you like the longer time frame on like Tilray. But again, this is the nice descending wedge right here. Got the breakout of the wedge, expecting the measure move to play out. 821 cross, hard buy signal, finding support off the 200 exponential and simple moving averages. We got the cross back here. This thing has been selling off once again since 2019, basically when it came out. So again, this might not just break to new all-time highs all of a sudden, but there's definitely potential for a nice bullish retracement inside of an overall bearish pattern, inside of a long-term bullish move. But here we got Tilray. Tilray has a little bit more of a history. So if we go back, this gives us like a really good idea as to like the pot stock boom. This thing, 2018, topped out on a massive parabolic run at the end of 2018, and then has been selling off since then. While like traditional markets continue to the moon, this was like a little bit closer to, this was basically in a bear market, similar to like crypto was for years, while everything else was just going, to new higher highs. And then when it bottomed out here in March, it has been basically coming back up, but is nowhere near the previous all-time high. So I consider this to be like less of a correlated asset to traditional markets and crypto as well. Came up here and got a massive rejection off the 21, but on the monthly has never been able to cross 821 to the upside because of like the length of time it takes to populate it. But since we bottomed out down here and started populating our monthly, histogram down here, we were in the bearish control zone, moving up, all green histograms, moving up, about to get the cross, potentially back to the upside. Again, the trade on Tilray is like, this is going to be like the crypto of the future, in my opinion, as far as like parabolic uptrends. The risk reward on this thing, if it gets back up to our target at like the 1.236 even, is like $1,000. But in all reality, even if we come back up to like the 786 or 886 and take out that wave 3 high, that's $100, 107 or $169. So, and the all-time high was like, what was it, like $300 or something like that. But let's go to a little shorter of a time frame. So here on the weekly, again, we're looking like we're going to cross that 821 back to the downside. So I don't want to get overly bullish on this thing right now and start acting crazy or anything. But we put in quite a bit of divergence between these 2 points, which is very key. We have a low right here. We have a higher low right here, and this is starting to roll back to the upside. We have a very clear low right here, and then much higher low right here, which is obviously bullish divergence. We have you know, again, we've crossed below the slope line right here, so there's definitely potential for further downside. We have to be careful. I don't want to just like go all in on these pot stocks. You know, because let's be real, if the markets start to just capitulate, you know, I would expect them to do the same thing. But we did cross on the daily that, actually, this is the weekly, just drawn on the daily, but we crossed here the 821 for the first time. Bullish move back here at like $7 after like the bearish move was back here at like $82. And again, just for effect, I'll go to the weekly so it's a little more clear what I'm looking at. But you can see this was the 821 cross bearishly right here. This was the 821 cross bullishly right here. And then we're potentially getting the bearish cross here again. So we do need to be careful on this. You know, that was our bearish. Here's our bullish, potentially another bearish. But it looks like we're breaking out of this consolidation pattern. Well, we have broken out of it. But it looks like we're more likely than not going to get continuation to one of these key internal retracement Fibonacci levels. So an ACV, you know, massive head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders pattern right here, bought the bottom. This thing is the overall least bullish of any of the pot stocks, but since this little bottom out right here, which what equates to like the right shoulder, has been the most bullish. So it broke through the 200 simple moving average. We're likely to come up here to the 200 exponential next, like 1092, at which point in time we'll already be up a nice, I mean, that's like a smooth what? Just from that entry, it's already up like 30% and potential for like 47%, but the real trade is up here to like 150% to like the 377. But if we do get the breakout of what equates to like our neckline right here and the measure move, which is just from the head to the neckline right there, that's going to take us up to our second trade setup, which is 359%. So, and even if we come back up and retest the neckline, still 151%. So again, no brainer, easy money. So all these trades are looking nice. They're all in massive profit already as well. So that's always nice. Caterpillar, you know, back up here, just testing the all-time highs, found support once again off of that same support line that we've been able to rely on this entire bull market up for the last year. We got to watch this resistance when we get up to it and potentially take profits on this most recent entry point. But still, that's just going to be a new high back here at like $268 on this cycle. It did the same thing back here though. We have to be careful because it went on a massive run like this, got a throw over the top, broke back down, found support, lost support, retested our blue support, and then broke down from it, and then like had a massive capitulation. So, you know, that was a 50% move down, you know, after that throw over. So we got to be careful that we don't get a similar situation like this. You know, obviously I won't be mad if we get a throw over because I'll be taking profits when we break out here. But, you know, what are we going to do? Run up to like $320 and then have a 50% drawdown from there? I mean, back to $170. I'll look at it as a buy. I don't think Caterpillar's going anywhere. But we do have to be very careful of this. There's a bunch of bearish divergence developing here. We have a high, you know, we have a lower high. We have another lower high. We have a high here. We have a higher high. We have another higher high here. Bearish divergence on the daily. Got to be careful of this because, you know, another higher high, another lower momentum move right here, you know, for a throw over, and then bearish divergence playing out in like a capitulation 50% plus dump. Does not look unrealistic. Let me put it that way. John Deere, you know, same type of thing. We have a high right here, massive high on our indicator oscillators, and then we have a higher high right here on price action, higher high right here on price action, lower high right here, lower high right here, lower high right here, lower high right here. Again, bearish divergence on the daily. You know, again, this thing looks even more weak than Caterpillar does. Same exact channel, same bullish move to the upside. Down here at support, we want to see some strength come out of this, take out the high, and we want to see it happen with a bunch of momentum so we can invalidate this bearish divergence. But more likely than not, I think this thing is probably just going to have another little pathetic move back up here, and then we'll see this. You know, looking at this compared to Caterpillar, this looks much worse. They're both obviously putting in some key bearish divergence though after an overall like parabolic uptrend from our lows here to our highs here. 275% move to the upside. So do we give back 50% of that? I mean, honestly, I would say probably more likely than that. And if we ask my buddy Charles Dow, I think he would probably agree. Lumber futures. Okay, so exactly what we said happened. You know, topped out, came down here, you know, basically got a bullish move of the bearish move, got a retracement of what equates to about 50% of the dump. So if we take from the top of the Fibonacci level to the bottom, where we bottomed out right here, came back up actually 61.8% of the sell-off back, got rejected, came back down, finding support at the 236 and key levels. But, you know, more likely than not, this thing continues to sell off, potentially back down to like the $950 level. We'll have to wait and see though. This was our top back here. This was our top right here. This was our bottom right here. This was our bottom right here. I'm not like swearing by time cycle analysis, but, you know, I think there's definitely potential for like $950 on, you know, at the beginning of June, and then, you know, potential continuation to the upside. We'll have to see though. I think a lot of the lumber pricing is just like FOMO demand from builders because prices are skyrocketing and there's not enough houses on the market, and then also like supply constraints because they closed all these lumber yards and there's not enough trucks to ship it all over the place, and we're putting ridiculous tariffs on Canada, and there's just a bunch of reasons why there's not enough lumber and there's extra demand right now. But it's unsustainable. People will just stop building, at least for a while, and then prices will come down. They will level out, put in a bottom, base out, and then from them we can get a better idea. But, you know, this is unsustainable. It's completely unsustainable. Just like pretty much everything that's going on right now in the economy, in the world. Copper, you know, this thing's been on a massive run. We did top out here at a key Fibonacci level. I'm going to go to a longer time frame so we can get a better picture on this. We took out the all-time high right back here at like $27. This is CPER. This is just like the index. We'll have to see. If this is the top right here and we start selling back off, I would expect us to come back down and, you know, potentially find support at like the 382 at like 21 bucks here. I'm massively bullish on copper in the long run. But again, we got to be careful. But you'll see we put in that divergence signal here at the bottom. Hard buy, hard sell, hard buy. That is our bullish divergence signal at the bottom of a massive sell-off. That corresponds with that March sell-off from like slightly over a year ago, after which copper went absolutely parabolic. And what did it do? Basically just put in a giant W pattern. Once we got the break of the tip of the W right here, we expect the measure move from the bottom of the range to the distance of the bottom to like the equivalence of our neckline right here, which if we take that from the measure move, which is the breakout right here, that basically just takes us up to where we're at right now. So does this thing go up to 30 bucks and then get rejected and come back down? There's definitely a possibility of that. If it does, I'm going to be a massive buyer on this, back down on like a retest of the 21, somewhere in like the low 20s. So maybe it just goes parabolic forever and just goes to like $100 trillion. And copper is just like the most expensive asset. It overthrows gold and then, you know, takes over the whole world. But I fucking doubt it. I doubt it. I think we're probably topping out. Last time we got the hard sell signal in the bullish control zone, we sold off, went sideways for a while, found support at a key Fibonacci level and the 50, 55 levels. So if we top out right here, potentially doing the same thing, come back up, put in, you know, another lower high. Maybe we even take this high out and we put in some bearish divergence. But in all reality, I think we come up here, go sideways for a little while, maybe retest on the short term, like 27 bucks. And then we have to see how it develops. But, you know, again, I think a lot of these commodity trades right now are just a little too busy. I think people have been bearish on commodities for like decades, and now all of a sudden everybody and their mom is calling for a commodity bull market after a parabolic run, after like supply constraint issues all over the world. And then like obviously commodities are like directly associated with like the potential inflation trade. So, you know, if I'm right on the whole scope of things and we see deflation, which I don't know if you guys have noticed, but have you noticed that a lot more educated economists and like traders or chartists or whatever are talking about deflation all of a sudden now? And before it was like everybody and their mom was just talking about inflation because all the money printing, except for your boy Crypto Trend Trader has been talking about deflation this whole time. And now all of a sudden more and more people are talking about deflation on a macro, and that this is like, God, I hate Jerome Powell, but transitory temporary inflation because of supply constraints and temporary reflation of like all this money printing. Just saying, your boy looking more and more likely to be right. And what does that mean? All of a sudden everybody's bullish on commodities because everybody's always late to the trade. Everybody is always bullish at the top and bearish at the bottom. Same way with Bitcoin and cryptos. Everybody's extremely bullish at 60,000. Your boy's calling out the absolute top. Capitulate 50% from there. So is copper going to do the same thing? Is silver going to do the same thing? Is gold going to do the same thing? Coffee, soy, wheat. I mean, look, you know I'll be the first one to tell you guys told you so when it happens. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit that I was wrong. And either way, I'll make money. So here's Ford. I told you guys I was looking into Ford. Got into Ford, and it's obviously been going parabolic since then. It's unsustainable, obviously. But let's be real. I think a lot of these other like actual car companies, and when I say actual car companies, I'm talking about like in comparison to like Tesla, who's like a non-profit. And I don't mean non-profit like for charity. I mean, it's like a non-profitable company with like ridiculous valuations. I think that like Ford and Toyota and potentially like GM and Honda and all these companies are going to gain market share. And I think Tesla is going to lose market share over time. So while I think Tesla will still go parabolic to the upside eventually, I think that we're going to see these other undervalued car companies start doing work here. And I know they're expanding like the EV credits and all that stuff. So yes, Tesla can still turn a credit, still turn a profit, and yeah, blah, 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 whatever. But let's be real. Overcrowded trades often go sideways to down for a long time until people give up on them, and then they're undercrowded, and then people like me scoop in at value levels and buy them. And this is our channel right here. We have direct correlation with the heart line on Ford. We're now back at the heart line after breaking through a key resistance level right here. So, is this trade done? Do we find support right here and get continuation to the upside? We'll have to wait and see. But, again, what's the measure move going to look like on something like this? I mean, it's going to look nice depending on which direction we go in, obviously. But, if we get the move to the downside, break back down from this channel, we could easily see Ford back at like $9 or, maybe $10 and a potential buy right there. And if it goes the other direction, same thing. We could see potential move, just the measure move of our channel right here to the upside. Hang on one second. Even if we just come back to the top of the channel, that's like $20 right there. If we get the actual breakout from the channel, it's going to take us up roughly to our 886 of the previous all-time high, which is going to be like roughly up here at like $25. So no, you're not going to get rich off of Ford, percentage-wise, but this could be a nice little trade. So we'll see how it develops. We'll see if we grind out a little support right here. We obviously have multiple green histograms in a row, flipped over the slope line blue. We're in the bullish control zone. We've already gotten a nice move off of support, but what am I going to do right here? I'm going to continue buying support on this channel, and I'm going to continue selling resistance. Heart line is definitely a take profit area. I think that's why we saw the sell off right here. So what happens in the future? Ford Lightning comes out, goes parabolic. This thing goes up massively, and then, Ford has problems, can't meet their deadlines, doesn't have enough chips. Maybe, they don't get as much mileage as they said they do. Maybe they start like randomly igniting on the side of the road and then capitulates, breaks down from these levels. It's a trade. I don't want to be a long-term investor in any of these like shitty companies that have been putting in lower highs for like, decades. Like 2011, we had a high on Ford back here. I don't want to be in something for the next 10 years while it sells off. It's just not my style. But, if we do get back up to like $37, what is that? It's like a 3x. So yeah, that's great. But, this thing topped out in 1999. It hasn't been able to put in a higher high since 1999. So do I want to like own Ford for the rest of my life? No, I do not. Is this company total shit? It's debatable. But there's definitely some potential in the short term, at least for this trade to play out. It's already obviously in massive profit. So, all right. So now the piece de la resistance. Let's check out our crypto. So what are people saying? Crypto is going to the moon. Diamond hands. New all-time highs incoming. Smart money's buying you're selling, institutions are in the house. We'll have to see. I'm not really going to look at the futures market right now, just because it's still closed for a couple days. So let's just go to our spot markets and see how they look. Obviously, looks extremely bullish. We topped out here at 65,000, and now we're down like 40+%. We're below the 200 exponential moving average. We're below the 200 simple moving average. They are flat. So that's like the most bullish thing you can have, right? Price action below key moving averages, getting a dead cat bounce at what might equate to be potentially a neckline. I mean, if this isn't the most bullish chart you've ever seen after we just lost 50% of our value, I mean, after Michael Saylor tells you go take out loans on your home and your family business and buy Bitcoin with it, what does that look like to you? It looks like probably the most bullish chart I've ever seen in my life. All Bitcoin ever does is go up. You literally can't lose in Bitcoin unless you bought in 2021, in which case you're probably down like 40%. If we break down from this key level right here, that is a very important slope line that we've been interacting with since the capitulation of $4 grand back in March last year. We have broken down from a key parabolic level. We have broken down from another key parabolic level. We retest for resistance. We had a capitulation down here. If we get the measure move to the downside from our head down to our neckline, where's this going to go? I cannot wait. Honestly, how Bitcoin goes to 10 billion trillion dollars and we all get rich. But I mean, what is somebody like Michael Saylor going to say once he's upside down in his Bitcoin position after he's been the leader of this cult for how long? Elon's already at break even or upside down in his Bitcoin position. Let's remember that. So if we get that 50% sell off from the neckline that we retested already, where is Bitcoin potentially going? Another 50% to the downside. Where's that put us at? That's 15,000. Where's 15,000? It's the top right here on that mini little bull run. I don't want to see us break down below that 20,000 level, but I wouldn't even be that alarmed, because if we go back and look at, I need to look at the stamp chart. I forgot Coinbase is the baby. It's just a baby. But you know what? Let's look at this and then we'll go to it in a second. Let's look at this and see, what does this look like? Okay, so Coinbase chart on the monthly, bullish control zone for months and months and months, hard sell signal, and then bear market for years. Hard buy signal coming out of the bearish control zone, and then bull market for a year. And then what happened right here? We're in the bullish control zone. We now have our first red histogram. Last time we had that happen was here. We had also a red histogram show up on the monthly right here. What were those? Those were the two absolute tops. We have a giant bearish candle right here that is taken out over 1, close to 2. We'll have to see how tonight closes, as it is the end of the monthly right here. But, once we bearishly engulf a candle like that, did that ever happen in the entire bull run here? No, it did not. Did it ever happen here? Yeah, it did. And then we went down for a year. Did it ever happen here? Once we took out that previous candle, what happened? We went down for 6 months and, basically retested the low. So let's be careful here. Let's not be some moon boy idiot. Let's be actual intelligent traders. I called out bearish divergence on the daily, on the weekly, triple bearish divergence, capitulation. We now have the sell signal, the buy signal, the sell signal. That's our bearish divergence signal at the top of the trend. What does this look like to everybody? It looks like a giant bearish move has already played out. Looks like a rejection of higher prices. Do we still continue back up here and make it to 42,000 again? Yeah, we definitely could. But we have left the bullish control zone. We've got the hard sell signal. We have the bearish, weekly right here. We have a bunch of red histograms in a row since we topped out. We're below the slope line right now. It's still blue, getting ready to flip over red. I mean, the Bitcoin chart looks like shit right now. Anybody that's telling you the Bitcoin chart looks like good right now is delusional. It looks like absolute shit right now. We are about to get our weekly 821 cross to the downside. When's the last time that happened? Back here, at our head and shoulders. Actually, no. What was that one? Oh, that was when I first made the channel. I was calling for, no, back here was when I first made the channel. Anyway, it was one of our massive dumps that I called out. Oh, that was the coronavirus capitulation back to the 200 exponential and simple, which we overshot massively. So we found support on 200 exponential simple here. We found support on 200 exponential simple here based on weekly closes. So 821 crossed to the downside. Here when it happened, we capitulated down a shitload since then. Never crossed it back to the upside until right here when I called out the bull market, $4,000 basically. Buy it. Then we crossed it down here, faked it out back to the upside, crossed it here, capitulation, and then crossed it back here. That's where we got massively bullish again, back at $8,000 on this run. And now here we've crossed it back again. So what is this? Massive bearish signal on Bitcoin. So let's say we just retest the 200 exponential or 200 simple. We're talking about like $16,000 to $14,000, $13,000 to $16,000. Definitely going to find some support at like 24, at 18, 20, somewhere around in this range, you know, but look, keep in mind, this market is just full of people that have no brains. And then here is our Bitstamp chart. So, you know, obviously massive head and shoulders breaking down from this area, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of selling coming in, blah, blah, blah. Monthly, we have a very key support line right here, you know, basically for all of Bitcoin's life. You know, we've come further away from it here, revert to the mean, slightly below it here, revert to the mean, further away from it, revert to the mean, slightly less away from it, revert to the mean, further away from it. You know, are we going to revert to the mean now? You know, where does that take us to? Takes us down initially to our breakdown 30,000, takes us back up to the head and shoulders target right here, takes us potentially back down to our breakdown again at like 15,000. Damn, there's a lot of stuff pointing down here like 15,000, including our 0.5 Fibonacci retrace level from the bottom back here at 3,000 to our top back here at, you know, 65,000. So 0.5 retracement, according to my man Charles Dow, very likely $14,000. We're getting now the hard sell signal, getting ready to leave the bullish control zone on the Stokes slope. We have now waddah explosion and Fisher Transform, both looking bearish right here on the monthly. You know, last time that happened, we topped out right here, topped out right here, topped out right here, topped out right here. I mean, got to be careful on this bad boy. Wouldn't be out here leveraging my house. I mean, it's not financial advice though. You can do whatever you want. But on the weekly, the waddah explosion has a blue slope line now. Although the selling has slightly tapered, it's orange now, and there's a little bit less of it. It looks like shit. It looks horrible. We have already left the bullish control zone and got the hard sell on the weekly for Stokes slope. We are now crossed into the bearish zone on the Fisher Transform. You know, when did that happen back here? We crossed into the bearish control zone back here on the 2017-2018 bull run at what, 11.6, and then from then we went down to $3,000. So could we lose 75% of our value from where we're at right now? You know, 35,000 bound to like 7,500. I mean, I wouldn't put it out of the cards. Do I think we're going to 7,500? It's still early to tell, but I mean, would it surprise me? No, it really wouldn't. It really wouldn't. But, you know, I think probably more likely we'll just go to like $1 million by end of day. But what do I know? Ethereum, you know, obviously spoke about this, the rejection off of the 21, and after that, massive capitulation, looks like shit. A lower low, looks like shit. Bouncing the 200, a high, a low, a lower high. What's more than likely going to happen next? Another, you know, equal or lower low, $2,000, followed by capitulation to $1,300, followed by capitulation to like $800. Where does Ethereum go? I mean, probably up a little bit from here, but way more down. You know, it's, look, I know people want to get bullish on Ethereum 2.0 and everything, but Ethereum is like macro succeeding right now, but micro failing right now. So let's see what happens. 821 on the weekly. We're still in between the two of them like we were right here. If we get rejected, I would expect to move down to the 89. If we get that move down to the 89, where is that going to put us? Like $1,000. So we'll have to see what happens from there. You know, again, sell, buy, sell on the weekly. We have exited the bullish control zone. There's a bunch of red histograms in a row. I'm not going to tell you to sell your Ethereum. This is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile. Please do your own research, trade responsibly. Yes, Vitalik Buterin has created something cool. Yes, Vitalik Buterin is a robot. Yes, I sold my Ethereum, and I'm not planning on holding down through a capitulation dump. But I sold my Ethereum at $4,000. Do I think you should sell your Ethereum at $2,400? No, I don't. I think that you should hodl. Hodl! You are so fucking stupid. Monthly looks slightly better than Bitcoin, but I mean, look at this thing rolling over, starting to look like shit. We'll see what happens. No one's getting my Ethereums. No one's getting my corns. I'll never sell. Bitcoin is the future. It's the only true money. And Bitcoin has limited supply, and there's infinite amount of gold, even though Bitcoin was designed off of the limited supply of gold. But there's infinite amount, and there's asteroids with gold on them, and Elon's going to mine it, and then gold's going to go to zero, and there's a machine that could make gold out of dirt, and there's limited Bitcoins. So Bitcoin is real money. Michael Saylor is right. It's definitely not a cult, and gold is going away after tens of thousands of years of history, and the only sound money for all the existence of human beings. And if you go back and look at the pyramids, there's Bitcoin symbols carved in the walls of them, and in the tombs of ancient Egyptians, there's Bitcoins. There's not gold, obviously. So Bitcoin is the future, and gold is outdated. Okay, boomer? So you guys know how I feel, obviously. So Ethereum topped out back here to Bitcoin massively, and then, you know, went in this massive capitulation run. It has now gone on a nice run since then to an internal retracement. Has not reached the all-time high from 2017. Topped out above the 618. Is currently finding support. Do I expect it to sell back off to at least the 0.5 to where it's 0.05? You know, 1 to 20 ratio. Yeah, I do. And then after that, potentially back down to like the, you know, 0.04. But, I mean, we'll have to see. It's not like this looks like a massive topping pattern after a parabolic move up to a lower high on Ethereum. If Ethereum was so good and it was going to dethrone Bitcoin, why wouldn't it take out its previous high in relation to Bitcoin? You know, when it took out its, I mean, let's be real here. Guys, let's be real. The space right now is full of absolute fucking morons. It's like a plague. It's a plague of morons. And when everybody gets wiped out, I mean, I'm going to feel absolutely like so sad for people. And I'm going to hope that they learn their lesson and that they start learning actual technical analysis and stop basing everything on fundamentals. ETH to Bitcoin ratio, all-time high back here, then topped out at the 886, then bottomed out at what ended up being our zero. And now what's it look like? We got a massive rejection at the 618. So we have a high, we have a lower high, we have a, you know, low, we have a lower low, A, B, C correction. And now what is this? What's happening right now? We're basically coming up to a lower high once again. So are we going to come back down later and put in a lower low, and it's going to be a 5 wave to the downside? I don't know. It's too early to tell. But you know what? Looks like shit on the monthly. But the fundamentals are strong. Bitcoin dominance chart. You know, we obviously sold back off slightly in between the 786 and 886. You know, shitcoins are running rampant. You know, everybody's all in on Cumrocket and Mooncoin and Dogecoin and Shiba Inu and D's Nuts Coin. And I mean, let's be real. There's no bubbles in crypto, okay? There's a lot of asset bubbles, but not in crypto, because crypto is sound money and it's the future. And if you want to live in the citadel, you better have cryptos, or you'll never get in the citadel, and you'll be eating dirt and drinking sweat from Bitcoiners that drip it down like in Mad Max. And if you don't believe that, then you're dumb. So 5 wave structure, retracement, what's going to happen? with Bitcoin dominance. I mean, maybe it goes to zero and Bitcoin gets dethroned and all the altcoins take over and Dogecoin is the best coin. Sure. Total market cap, you called out the top back here at 2.4 trillion. Let's be real. We have lost $1 trillion in value in the crypto space since then. We got a massive rejection off the 21. Could not get back above the 8. Got the hard sell, hard buy, hard sell, divergence signal at the top of a parabolic uptrend. Multiple red histograms in a row, getting ready to potentially bounce the slope line for another pathetic dead cat bounce to the upside. Maybe crypto gets back up to $2 trillion market cap, but I absolutely doubt it. I think it's more likely that the DeFi space completely collapses on itself and people lose everything. So yeah, obviously looks like shit, but I'm bullish on crypto now at the top. I'm extremely bullish on crypto because we went down 50%. And everyone knows that a 50% move down in crypto is bullish. And if you sold at the top, even the absolute top, you're dumb because now whales have your coins, even though you could just buy twice as many of them from other people. But HODL, Doggy Dogecoin. I mean, this is the same pattern it put out. It like went parabolic, went sideways forever, then broke to the upside. So if this goes back 821, cross back to the upside, by all means, new all-time highs for Dogecoin. But until then, looks like shit. And if I were in crypto, I would be getting scared by the strength of the altcoins in comparison to Bitcoin, because altcoins are literally like a hope and a dream and like some dude like telling you how great they are and nothing else. With the exception of Ethereum, which is smart contracts, and Bitcoin, which is like first mover advantage, there are very few altcoins that even have anything functional other than like a white paper and a bunch of dudes like sitting around in a circle giving each other's HJs. So I'd be very careful in a lot of these trash altcoins. Polkadot looks like it's getting ready to capitulate down from this level. There's like no support either. So where are we going next? We already hit the 382. It's going to $11, lose another 50% of its value. Like, honestly, I think it's very likely that what's going to happen in the future is we're just going to start seeing everybody's investments just getting cut by 50% at a time. So, but I mean, what do I know? I'm using technical analysis, and cryptos are going to the moon. Link, same thing. I mean, come on, guys. We got in Link at like $2.50. It's up still like over 10x. I mean, it went up to 20x from the entry point. Is that not enough for a bull run? Could it not be over? Maybe. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Chainlink is probably going to $1,000 by the end of the day. ADA Cardano, Charles Hoskinson doing more of his Ask Me Anythings where he gets on and just says like smart stuff, but like he says a lot of words but never actually says anything. 821 cross to the downside. Look, let's remember where Cardano was at not too long ago. Where was it at? It was at a penny, I think. I think Cardano was at 0.018. It was at 2 pennies not too long ago. 2 pennies a year ago. So it was at 2 pennies, and now it's at $1.56. And the previous all-time high was $1.30. So it took out its all-time high. So it's not the worst crypto, or maybe it is the worst crypto, but it has a stronger cult than most cryptos, or some cryptos. But is it still a cult? Even if it's not the worst cult, does that mean it's not a cult? Or does that just mean it's not the worst cult? Because I would say it's probably just not the worst cult. XRP is literally fighting for the worst cult, though. XRP cult. God, I honestly can't help. I make fun of XRP and a lot of these other cryptos a lot, but I can't help but feel sorry for the people who believe in XRP. Because the previous all-time high last bull run was $3.30, and we barely got to half that. We barely got to $2, and it's back down to 91 cents now. So just to get back to the all-time high, it needs a 4x. And let's be real right here. Crypto looks shitty, and this thing needs the 4x to make it back to its all-time high again. Guys, XRP is dead. And honestly, I think part of why XRP is so dead, probably half the XRP cult probably did actually kill themselves already. And I do feel bad for you if one of your friends or family members was in the cult and drank the Kool-Aid. But let's be real. We're humanity is probably better off without them. No, that's kind of mean. But it is actually probably true, though. And then Dash is a close... It's a struggle right now between Dash and XRP for like the two worst cryptos. I think the only thing worse than these two is like a crypto that completely went away. So, like, I mean, it's a struggle though, guys. This thing made it up to like 1,600, and then this bull run, it made it up to like 500. So it's pretty, and now it's at like $178. So if it just 10x's from where it's at right now, it'll be back at the all-time highs. So one could argue that if you like the slowest horse in the race, if you want to buy the absolute worst crypto that there is and just pray to God, or pray to the Bitcoin gods or the altcoin gods or whatever, that it goes back to all-time highs, this thing is due for a 10x. It is due. That's how I bet on horse races and stuff like that. I pick the absolute worst horse in the race, and then I bet on that horse, and I go all in on it, and then I just sit there and say, it's, even though it's never won before and it's the slowest and worst horse in the race, it's due. So I'll just keep betting on it. So, because that's a good way to invest. So that, it makes sense. But in all reality, where is this probably going? Let's be real. Where's Dash really going? I would say my target for Dash is $6.80. So I'm a buyer on Dash if we retest this previous high back here. I'll buy Dash, honestly, and say that Dash is bullish if we get down to $10. I'll be a buyer of Dash. And you know what? I bet I'll make some money off of it too. So Dash is bullish. Basic attention token rolled over, came down, already tested the 528,377. I mean, let's be real. This thing can't be strong just because it does have actually like strong fundamentals, because it's like an actual working product for Brave browser, and I like it and I use it and it's good and everything, but this is weak. It looks weak. Looks weak. Shit's weak. Riot blockchain looks like shit. Broke down from key level, descending triangle breakdown, found support at the 236 temporarily, tried to reclaim the 200 exponential moving average, got rejected off the 21, barely found support off the 200 simple moving average. Where's Dash going? Next target to downside $11, or I'm sorry, Riot going. Next target to downside is $11.60. This thing was overvalued, and I expect capitulation. I expect more capitulation. I expect even more downside on this. But there's probably a trade in here somewhere to the upside, but I don't see it. MicroStrategy. This is Michael Saylor, or as I like to call him, Bitcoin Judas, aka Micro Penis. Michael Saylor. Looks like shit. $470, all-time high, $1,300. I created 400% value for my shareholders at $125. Well, let's look at the volume back here when this thing was $125. It's like non-existent. Company's like out of business. There is no MicroStrategy. It's sideways, capitulating from its previous all-time high. This is a trash bag company that was literally dead. And then Michael Saylor like came out and got all these people to join the cult. Look at this company. Look at this chart right here. Look at this. You want to believe in something other than unicorns and fucking Santa Claus? MicroStrategy topped out last time at $3,300. And what was this? This was in 2000. What happened in 2000? .com bubble burst. What also happened in 2000? Michael Saylor got in trouble with the SEC and had to pay massive amounts of fines. What happened after that? MicroStrategy capitulated down to $3. And what percentage did MicroStrategy go down from its all-time high to its all-time low? Let's check and see. 99.87%. And that's our Bitcoin hero. Michael Saylor is a hero. He's Jesus for Bitcoin. So let's see. What would a 99.8% move down from our previous all-time high? Which, let's keep in mind, too, that this piece of shit, he bought billions of dollars in Bitcoin and couldn't even take out his piece of shit company's all-time high because he was lying. He was faking profitability on his balance sheet and couldn't even make it back up to the 886. Got rejected by a wick exactly at the 786. So fundamentally, is Michael Saylor a piece of shit and does his company suck? Yes, he sucks. He's trash. His company's shit. Technically, does this thing operate like clockwork based on Fibonacci retracements? Yeah, this thing is fucking phenomenal. It topped out literally at the 786 of the internal retracement from 2000. So if you're in this thing from this bull run right here, get ready for another 20 years of downside. Get ready for another capitulation move of 99.8%, at which point in time, Michael Saylor goes to zero. Honestly, he probably gets assassinated. He probably drinks his own Kool-Aid. They're going to be like, we found Michael Saylor locked in his apartment where he ate himself and tried to use Bitcoins to order a pizza, but didn't have enough because he capitulated. Oh, wait, no. Because he over-leveraged his company and his self and the balance sheet and got liquidated. And then Coinbase. Coinbase, you know, look like shit, bounced, look like shit, bounced, look like shit, bounced. So what's based on that trend? Let's go back and you guys say it in the chat, okay? Look like shit, bounced, look like shit, bounced, look like shit, bounced. So what's next for Coinbase? Does it look like shit or does it bounce? You guys tell me. But there is potential upside move here. But it does look like shit. But it could bounce. But it looks like shit. And I think we nailed it, guys. We did it in good time. I got to talk some shit. I got to do some technical analysis. I think that's pretty much it for me today. That was fun. I enjoyed myself. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself as well. And you know what? I've never heard anybody talk about that MicroStrategy chart either. So maybe we all learned something today. During the video, Bitcoin has done phenomenally well. It has only sold off a total of, let's take a look here. From the start of this video till now, it's only down 4%. So that's pretty good. Bullish. Also took out the, look, I'm not even doing any more TA. I'm jumping in the comments to see what you guys said, and then I'm getting out of here. Are you playing Tilray with options or comments? No, I'm just buying spot Tilray, actual stock. You could. There's definitely some option plays out there, but to tell you the truth, the pot stocks have already, because they're potentially having that weekly cross back to the downside. I'm not like overly bullish on them for like long term. And also, even though they're like not as correlated to traditional markets as a lot of like pretty much everything else is, including cryptos, I do still expect a massive sell-off again in traditional markets. So I don't want to be stuck in some bullshit like option play when I could have just taken profits on like spot positions. So New Pathway, what's up, brother? Good to see you. CG Simmons 1187 says all the FUD in the market is thanks to Malcolm Maryland wannabe. Oh wait, Malcolm Merlin wannabe? Who is that? I don't know who that is. Blame it on China and Elon. If it wasn't for China and Elon, all these technicals would never work. It would just be fundamentals and we'd all be on the moon right now. We would have already hit Mars. We'd be on Pluto and Bitcoin would be at $1 trillion. But China. But now FUD's good because it clears out the weak hands and only the diamond hand holders are left. Look, I'm going to, okay, here, before I finish reading the chat, my argument for what's happening right now in the world is we are like literally reliving the 1920s right now. Okay, we're in the roaring 20s. And what happened during the roaring 20s? Everybody and their mom, including at the time, typically women were not in the stock market. It was like a man's thing and it was only for the rich and the elites and everything. What do? They pull in all the young people. They pull in all the taxi drivers. They pull in all the women. Everybody else gets into the market. They try to prop up this ridiculously over-leveraged stock market and then it all collapses and we go into like a series of like recessions, followed by the Great Depression. That is literally a 100-year cycle. So where are we at right now? We're 100 years later doing what I think is the exact same thing. So better be careful in these markets. And who's involved right now in, all these stock markets and cryptos and NFTs and all this stuff. Who's an investor now? Like all these new people rushing into it, all these young people, all these women. I mean, look, I'm all about equality. I want young people to make money and everything, but it looks sort of like right now the smart people and the higher ups are like tricking all the young people and the new people into the markets to like buying their bags while they basically just take a big dump in their mouth. That's what it looks like to me, but I'm just basing it on technicals and like 100-year cycles. I don't know about fundamentals. I can't argue against fundamentals while Bitcoin falls off a cliff. And Bubbly says, how do you feel about verifying accounts with photos of yourself holding your ID like Bittrex does? Oh, I mean, it's KYC, man. It's like 100%. That's regulation. Everybody says they can't regulate crypto because Bitcoin is the people's money and we can trade Bitcoin with each other and we're outside the system. Okay, they now have options and futures for Bitcoin. So it's not outside the system. They now have all the on-ramps and off-ramps completely regulated. So it's not outside the system. And then on top of that, they literally used to have this thing called like localbitcoin.com where you could like go meet up with people and barter your Bitcoin for like goods and services like gold and silver or money or like a cow or a hand job, whatever you want to buy your Bitcoin. And now you can't even do that anymore. They set up like sting operations. So what have they done? They regulated the on and off ramps. So yeah, you could be a trillionaire in Bitcoin on paper, but you can't ever buy anything with it or do anything with it without like the regulators knowing about it. They can't seize our Bitcoin because we're private, and even though there's a public ledger and all they have to do is just watch who transfers it and what account it goes to, or later on they come back and say that there's blood Bitcoins that were mined illegally or they were used for illegal activities, but they'll never find me and my Bitcoin because I have it on a hard drive at my house. Well, okay, how are you ever going to spend it? How are you ever going to use it? So sure, you could be rich on paper all you want. I'll be rich with actual gold and silver and like food and ammunition and stuff. So yeah, I mean, look, let's be real. All the regulation that's come to crypto is going to absolutely destroy it. They're going to tax it. They're going to regulate it. They're going to stop you from being able to spend it. And they're going to make privacy coins illegal. And then everything's going to switch to like Fed coin. And then they're going to go negative rates. And they're going to put expiration dates on, when you're able to spend it. And just like food stamps, they're going to tell you like you can only spend it on food. You can't buy cigarettes or alcohol or like weed with it. You got to buy what they say, and it expires if you don't use it by a certain time. And what does that sound like? It sounds like China. And what is China? It's like 5 or 10 years ahead of the United States with like everything that's happening right now. So they're going to have like, video recognition software when you go anywhere, and there's going to be a social caste system and universal basic income and all this shit. And it's not some fantasy land dream. It's literally already happening in places. And what is China? China's probably the future of most countries. So let's see what happens. I mean, but in all reality, I think KYC is the first step in them controlling all the cryptos. And then like AML, anti-money laundering, is basically them saying like, we're going to stop you from doing illegal stuff. And the only way that you can do stuff outside of the system is there's two things you can do. You can use their fake money, which is currency, which is cash, which they're obviously trying to get rid of, trying to make everything go digital so they can follow it, what you spend it on, how you get it. They can tax it as you get it, just like China does. So they want to get rid of cash. So that's probably what's going to happen in the future. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that's going to argue with that. And then what's the other way you can be outside the system? Precious metals, gold and silver, the oldest money in all of existence, the only true money in all of existence. So what would I rather have to make sure that I have control of myself and of my wealth and that I'm not just rich on a screen, on a piece of paper? I'd rather have gold and silver. And you bet your bottom dollar that if I'm right in the future, that you're going to be able to take a little silver bar or a little silver coin or a big fat gold bar or whatever, and you're going to be able to buy houses, and you're going to be able to buy food, and you're going to be able to buy all the kinds of stuff that you want to buy, and that all the people that are inside the system and regulated are probably not going to be able to do shit because they're just going to shut it down. So, I mean, look, I would rather be invested in both. That way I cover my bases. So do I want to join the gold cult? No, thank you. Do I want to join the silver cult? No, thank you. Do I want to join the Bitcoin cult? No, thank you. Do I want to join the Dogecoin cult? No, thank you. Do I want to join the stock market cult? No, thank you. Do I want to join the inflation cult? No, thank you. Do I want to join the deflation cult? No, thank you. No, I'm not going to join a cult. I'm not going to drink any Kool-Aid. I'm going to invest accordingly. I'm going to look at all different asset classes, and no matter what happens, I'm going to be richer than I am now, and I'm going to cover my ass so that there's no worries. I can literally sleep at night, every night, knowing that no matter what happens, unless the human race gets annihilated from the planet by each other or aliens or a giant volcano, because Sodom and Gomorrah has come to terms again, and these are like biblical end of days. No matter which one of those happens, I'm going to be covered unless literally the world gets wiped out. So, or maybe it's an asteroid, whatever. It doesn't have to be a volcano or God or the second coming of Christ or AKA, Michael Saylor. That was a joke, by the way. What's next? All the FUD, said that one, Bittrex. Bitcoin symbols on the pyramid. Yeah, right, bro? I mean, if you haven't seen those, they're amazing. Because Bitcoin wasn't even made until like 2010. And yet somehow they were carved into the pyramids. And they actually dug up some mummies recently. And like, who was it? It was like some famous like pharaoh from like thousands and thousands of years ago. And they actually found like clutched in his hands, like tightly, not gold, not some like ornate headdress, not some like bones with magic spells cast on them. They found a hard drive, and when they plugged the hard drive in, it was loaded with Bitcoin, but the keys were not there. So I don't know how they're ever going to get the Bitcoin, but we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to hack it, and then everybody can have one of the coins. Love shorting Riot. Yeah, Riot is a total piece of shit. It's like the MicroStrategy of miners. And I mean, it's like Mike Novogratz and all these like dumb fucks who made these like parabolic uptrend, like crypto related assets are probably never going to reach all-time highs again until maybe the next bull market. So have fun. I'll see you in like 3 years at the next stop. And I'm not saying we can't reach all-time highs by the end of the year this year, but I can say one thing for sure. We're going to see it coming. And so far, like the fortune cookie at a Chinese restaurant, the signs say no. Or what's that? The magic 8 ball. If we shake the magic 8 ball and it says, is Bitcoin headed up to new highs anytime soon? All signs point to no. Love it when you go on a rant about Saylor. Hopefully Musk next. Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. I mean, dude, Michael Saylor is literally a fake cult leader. He's like the face of crypto, and he like discovered it this year. The dude bought into Bitcoin at $10,000. If he knew anything, he would have bought Bitcoin sooner than $10,000. And according to him and his buys and MicroStrategy's website, their cost basis for Bitcoin is like $24,700 or something. First off, if he knew anything, he wouldn't have just bought Bitcoin at $55,000. Second off, if he owns $2.4 billion in Bitcoin, why was his last Bitcoin purchase like $12 million? Is Michael Saylor running out of money? Is Michael Saylor $10,000 per Bitcoin away from being negative? Right now, from where he bought at $25,000, we're at $35,000 right now. He's up $10,000 per Bitcoin. So he's up roughly 40% now. So he looked like a genius when he bought at 10,000, and now he looks like he's up less than if he would have bought gold at the same time. So I don't know, man. What's going to happen when Michael Saylor's upside down on his position? How many people are going to loan Michael Saylor $1 billion to buy Bitcoin when his Bitcoin position is $2.4 million? Well, I mean, by then it'll be like $1.6 billion and upside down. And when will Michael Saylor capitulate? When will his diamond hands turn to paper hands? When will Michael Saylor be all over every channel doing interviews like, I mean, I was right about Bitcoin. I'm still buying Bitcoin. My mom's driving me around in the car. I used to be a fighter pilot jet. I have a boat behind me, so I'm credible. Look, here's the thing about the Bitcoins. I'm super rich. I'm a billionaire, but I haven't gotten my teeth fixed yet, even though they look like some crusty old gross teeth. But I mean, I'm smart and I'm rich and I'm definitely not under investigation by the SEC. I was never in trouble with them in the past. My company is not still down like 75% from its previous all-time high, which was the dot-com bubble when I scammed everybody and then got in trouble and almost went to prison, which I definitely would have got butt raped by people in prison because I'm a weak little bitch. But yeah, things are going good. I'm not over leveraged. Bitcoin is definitely going up. This was all expected. That's why I bought Bitcoin again at 55,000, and I expect it to go to 1 million by the end of like the week or day. Right now, me and my buddies are just pushing on the price so we can buy more. And if you don't understand that, you don't know what diamond hands are. Okay, and I'll explain it to you. Me and Elon got together and we talked to the miners, and the miners are forming a coalition. And in that coalition, we're going to stand around in a circle, and then we're all going to jerk each other off on a piece of bread. And then the loser of the game has to eat the bread. It's called the bread game. It's going to be fun. And then it's how you know that you're dedicated to mining and Bitcoin in the future. So, yeah. And if you want to sign up, just go to microstrategy.com and just loan me some money because I'm going to buy some more Bitcoin once it goes up. So that's my Michael Saylor impression, obviously. I'm not great at it, but again, Michael Saylor only resurfaced to like the face of the earth in the last like year. So I'll have to work on it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Elon, man, at least he's like potentially creating some kind of value. But it is what it is, man. We'll see. I have a feeling that the Elon bubble goes down to like $250. I still do believe in Tesla for the long haul. I probably will get a Tesla truck when and if they ever come out. But I mean, everybody I know that has a Tesla, all they do is like talk shit about them. Now they're getting rid of like their satellite like stuff on their lower Teslas. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Tesla is going to be like the Amazon of 2000 bubble. So we'll have to see though. Maybe I'm wrong and Tesla is at $10,000 tomorrow. I mean, let's just be real here, guys. There's way too many dumbass people invested in all these markets. None of these people took any profits along the way, and they're all anybody that was 2x leverage in crypto or the stock market in tech is already wiped out. So I don't know, man. I mean, am I right? Did I call it? Did I tell everybody when the top was? Did I potentially, stop everybody from losing 50% of their money? Yeah, but I mean, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. Do your own research, trade responsibly. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just telling people that if I were not wanting to lose half of my money or all of my money if I was leveraged, I would probably take profits. But why would you take profits when everything's going to $1 million and then you'll just be less rich? But in all reality, all you have to do is own one Bitcoin and then you can be a millionaire if it goes to $1 million. So why do you need to have like the most Bitcoin? Why do you need to be a trillionaire or a gazillionaire? Like, not everybody needs to be Jeff Bezos. It's ridiculous. Yeah, when the guy shining your shoes gives you stock tip. Tell me that's not what's going on right now. If Uber still existed because everybody wasn't just on like universal basic income right now, like that Uber drivers would tell you about like their great investments. But instead, there's no Ubers, there's no taxis because everybody's a Bitcoin / stock market millionaire. So you missed AK Ritz. First question about Monero. Good question. I thought of recently too. Let me go back and look. About Monero. With government around the world developing their own central bank digital currencies, what's your view on privacy coins such as Monero? Oh man, my view on privacy coins is that if the government's cracking down on things, what are they going to crack down worse on? The one that you can see everything that happens and there's like a public ledger, or the one where you can't see what happens? They're going to go after privacy. The government's whole thing is control. and stopping you from being able to do things outside the system, stopping you from being able to do things privately. That's why they want to get rid of cash. That's why they want to get rid of, gold and silver as money. That's why, they're allowing all these other assets to go parabolic that are essentially like completely overvalued. So do I think they're going to crack down on privacy coins? Yeah, they're going to crack down exponentially bad. I think they'll probably try to completely ban them. But again, they don't have to. It doesn't even matter. All they really have to do is say, if you hold Monero or you mine Monero, you're a criminal and we're going to come arrest you. And 95% of people will say it's not worth taking the chance. And then the other 5% of the people won't be able to spend their money anyway because of KYC. So if everything has KYC and you can't ever get your money, what's the point of having it? So I think that they're probably going to crash cryptos as best they can. I think realistically that we could see for the first time in Bitcoin's life cycle a lower low. We've never had a lower low like on the macro ever in crypto. And I think that in the next 5 years, we're more likely to see a lower low than a higher high. I think that's honestly the truth, man. And I hate to say it, but I think there's a higher likelihood that the Bitcoin bubble will legitimately pop for the first time than there is that it's going to go exponential. Now, that doesn't mean I'm still not going to make money trading crypto and then I'm not like completely giving up on crypto or anything. But I think that right now there's more likelihood of a change in trend than there is in continuation to the upside. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope crypto keeps going up. I hope it gets massively adopted. I hope it turns into a legitimate alternate asset class. But, everybody's like talking about paper gold and paper silver and why gold and silver are garbage because they're controlled by the system. But there's paper crypto now. There's paper Bitcoin. There's paper Ethereum. So what is the difference between supply of something? If there's paper markets in one, it's dead and the government controls it. But if there's paper markets in Bitcoin, it's still limited supply and no one talks about it. It's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. It makes no sense. If you're going to argue a point, I don't give a damn if I agree with you or don't agree with you, but at least be consistent and argue the point from everything. Don't just argue it for the asset class you like. Like, this is Michael Saylor's talking about Bitcoin. There's a limited amount of Bitcoin and gold supply goes up by 2% every year, and the higher price is on gold, the more people are going to be incentivized to mine it. What about Bitcoin? It's literally modeled off of gold. Yes, there's 21 million Bitcoins, and that's the most Bitcoins there will ever be. There's I think it's 21, what is it? I can't think off the top of my head. I want to say there's been 180,000 tons of gold ever mined, and that in the ground, discovered, there's another 30,000 tons. So we've already mined 75 or 80% of the known gold in the world. And in order to mine gold, now we have to dig deeper and go through more dirt. So even if we get better machines, we're not finding better deposits. So it's going to be harder and harder and harder to find and mine and get gold. Same with silver. So why is that not an argument for gold and silver, but it is an argument for Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin gets harder to mine over time and there's diminishing supply over time. Gold and silver are not some unlimited supply assets just because we have a giant ball of earth that we all live on that may have some gold and silver that we haven't discovered yet versus Bitcoin that we know there's 21 million. What is the difference? It makes no sense. They literally designed Bitcoin to be like digital gold in the sense that there was a limited supply and diminishing returns over time. So it literally copied gold digitally, and then somehow that's a good thing for Bitcoin but a bad thing for gold. It makes no sense. People are absolutely retarded. It's no offense if you're actually handicapped. I'm talking about normal people that have full brain function but have opted out of using their brain. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't mean it in a negative way, disrespecting anyone that's actual handicapped, but if you choose not to use your brain and it does function, you're a fucking moron. It's just ignorance, and it's just absolutely pathetic, the amount of ignorant people in the crypto space. And you cannot tell me that it's not a bubble right now in everything. There's clearly an everything bubble. Even the Federal Reserve and the people making the bubble are saying it. They're like literally like, there's a bubble and it's getting bigger. And eventually we're going to taper. But not yet. And we'll tell you before we stop. So what's going to eventually happen? And the bubble bursts. But it's going to be too late then. I mean, and maybe it already did, but like, this is just so ridiculous what's happening right now. And people like arguing that there's not a bubble and all this stuff, and it's the future. Like, it blows my mind. And like, I guess it's just that full on like market euphoria, but you can't even say it's euphoria anymore because we're down 50% from the all-time highs. So now it's denial. People are legitimately in denial. And like soon, people are going to legitimately, like, I don't even think we've seen actual capitulation yet. So when we actually capitulate, what's really going to happen? People are going to people are going to lose it. And everything that's going on already and the instability like in the world and everything, and like tough times are ahead for a lot of people. And we better pray to God that like the actual like stock markets around the world don't see like a legitimate depression like style event, that it's just like a recession. If central banks lose control or fully gain control, depending on if you believe like this overall like agenda or whatever, like the world's going to be a really shitty place. So if you're betting on like the horrible, shitty future of the world, like it's going to suck no matter how rich you are. It's still going to suck. So like for me, I don't want to bet on the worst case scenario. I would rather bet on the best case scenario, that we go back to like a legitimate gold standard and wipe out fiat currency and go back to like legitimate trade and get rid of like horrible pandemics, and there's peace on earth and no more wars and genocides. That's what I hope happens. But I'm covering my ass just in case option 2 happens. Okay? And to tell you the truth, man, if you're all invested in anything, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's cryptos, whether it's beanie babies, no matter what you're investing in, if you're all in, you're not being responsible and you're not being intelligent. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to diversify. But again, it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. I will see everybody Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed my super rant streams. I don't know why lately my rants have been like exponential. I hope you guys are enjoying them. I know I've been swearing a lot lately, but I mean, it just sucks seeing how stupid everybody is right now. I hate to see all these people just like diamond hands just getting wrecked left and right, talking about how like everything's going to be gravy soon. Like, I just wish people would legitimately wake up and realize that they're not protecting themselves. They're not protecting their family. They're not using their brains. They're not intelligently investing. They are speculating on speculative assets at the top of ridiculous bubbles, and that they're going to get wiped out. And it sucks, man. I would rather everybody listen to me and get out at 65,000 or 60,000 or 57,000 or whatever, and, listen to what I'm doing or potential moves or reasons why, and use actual technicals instead of just saying, there's clouds in the sky and we're going to fly above them, and eventually we're going to break through the atmosphere, and then we're going to go to the moon, and then we're going to go to Mars, and then we're going to go to Venus, and then we're going to go to Pluto, and then we're going to crash the party in heaven, and God's going to buy our Bitcoins from us for $1 trillion each in the Citadel, and we're all going to be happy and everything's going to be gravy, and if you didn't buy cryptos, then you're going to be left out and you're dumb. It's just so ridiculous right now, and it sucks, man, because people are just so stupid, and it's just a matter of time. And part of why it pisses me off or makes me sad or whatever on the outlook of things is the longer this goes on for and the worse it gets, I think the more higher probability there is that I'm going to be right, and that we're going to go into like another elongated depression, and we're going to see like the late 20s, 30s all over again. And it's going to suck, man. It's going to be shitty for everyone. Like, it's going to be hard to like get things, and we're going to lose like goods and services, and restaurants are going to go out of business, and we're going to see like massive drug addictions and overdoses, and the whole world's going to suck, man. The whole world's going to suck. And I hope that doesn't happen. It sucks, man. But it's the more this bullshit and crazy speculation and just ridiculous like diamond hand shit goes on for, the more likely everybody is to just get wrecked. And AMC is garbage. Dogecoin is garbage. GameStop is garbage. Like, this stuff is all garbage. And that's like the highest performers. And somehow that, you know, Tesla has never made $1 without, like, they've never been a profitable company without government subsidies on electric vehicles and trading Bitcoin, speculative assets. But somehow they're like the best company in the world and have the most massive gains in the last like year. I mean, that's a bubble. It's 2000s all over again. It's 1920s all over again. And it's sad, man. It's sad and it sucks. And, you know, there's like a handful of people on Earth or on YouTube that are talking about it. And it's very clear that we're about to go into a massive deflationary like period. And everyone is so worried about inflation. Well, if everything was going to go into deflation and I was trying to like squeeze the last drip drop of money out of everybody, what would I do? Before asset prices crash, I would get everybody to buy my bags. And how do you get everybody to buy your bags? You convince them that prices are going to go up forever and you're never going to be able to buy any of these goods cheaper. They're only ever going to be more expensive, and that their money that they have now is only ever going to be less valuable. They're going to lose all their purchasing power and they're never going to be able to buy anything in the future. So spend all your money now, buy all the things now, get as much stuff as you can. Because, excuse me, because it's going to be more expensive in the future. But in all actuality, the opposite's going to happen. There's going to be deflation. Everything's going to crash. All these things are going to cost pennies in the future because the bubble's going to pop and no one's going to want them. And then I'll be the guy who swoops in and buys all this shit up. And then everybody else is going to say, woe is me, I lost it all. And they're going to quit investing. They're not going to invest in the stock market. They're not going to, you know, buy cryptos again. They're not going to, you know, it's sad. Gold, silver are going to crash. Like, it's all going to crash. And then people are going to, like, lose potential fortunes that they could have logged in because they were afraid to just pay some taxes. Well, I would rather pay taxes on gains than not pay taxes on losses. But, I mean, what do I know? So, that's it for today, guys. Appreciate you spending part of your Sunday with us. Crypto Trend Trader, good info. Thanks, Sean. Good to see you as always, brother. Good to see everybody in here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate everybody that took the time to, you know, get a extra subscribe for me, or tell a buddy, or tell a friend. To everybody that says stuff like, I don't have time to make a second YouTube account because I'm busy. Well, what do you think I fucking do when I make these long ass streams and do free technical analysis for everybody? Like, I don't have anything better to do? Or the people that say, I unsubscribed and resubscribed, so I hope that helps. Like, if you really think that helps, if you really think that you don't have time to do these things, if you really think like this stuff, I mean, honestly, good riddance. Because, like, you're a fucking moron. And you're probably going to be one of these people who gets completely wrecked. So, if you're not using your brain on a regular basis, I highly recommend you get a book and read it. Use your brain to, like, solve a crossword puzzle, or maybe like a maze, or maybe start small with a coloring book, because you legitimately need to help yourself, because honestly, I can't help everybody. So I try every day when I make these videos, try to help people. But, you know, I can only reach so many people. And every one of the people that subscribes to this channel, every one of the people I talk to and interact with says, oh, I wish I would have discovered you sooner. Thank you so much for your knowledge. Appreciate you sharing your insights. Thank you for helping us to learn. Thank you for making me independent. Like, all this different stuff that's positive. And all I ask when I ask you guys to, you know, get other people to subscribe and help me build this channel is to help share the wealth of knowledge that I share with you guys with other people. And, like, if people are too lazy or don't understand how to do that, there's nothing I can do for them. Honestly, it is what it is. That's fine. It sucks that your friends and your family and probably your coloring book will all suffer because of it. So, but for those of you that do that stuff, I am greatly appreciative of it. Thank you very much for it. I have a sneaking suspicion that Bitcoin will probably bounce back up to where futures closed. Oh wait, futures closed at 34,800. So more likely than not, we'll probably be somewhere around that level like when the futures markets open up and everything tomorrow or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But after that, I don't see any life coming from these cryptos. I don't see any reason that we're going to go to new highs or even retest some of these key levels we've broken down from. I think it's very likely that we're going to see another capitulation dump, and we're going to start seeing some true fear coming into these markets. And all these moon boys, all these diamond hand traders are either going to get liquidated or they're going to turn into paper hand, pillow hands, whatever. And, people are going to get wrecked if they haven't already, and it sucks. But it is what it is. I know you guys are going to be here. Definitely planning on doing the group up again. I've had quite a few people reach out to me already about it. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to start it up. I've just been busy lately doing a bunch of other stuff. But I don't want to wait too long and then some massive move happens before we get in here to take advantage of it. So I will probably start it up next week. So I'll give you guys a update probably on Wednesday, and probably say something about shooting me an email or whatever, and then I'll start taking like applications, or not applications, but like, just have people reach out to me, and then I'll open the group back up for a select few people. And I'm going to start small again. I'll probably just start with like 10 or 20 people again, and then slowly just allow some more people to come in. I don't want some ridiculous shit show. I don't want little bitches arguing in the chat anymore. Like, I mean, it wasn't bad last time, but I plan on heavily screening everybody once again. Or maybe I'll make a public group where people can get in there and fight and argue about dumb stuff. And then I'll have a private group for like actual smart, intelligent people. But I just don't feel like having like the taxing effects of it. So, but I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Appreciate it. Thank you all. I hope you guys enjoy the rants as much as the TA. I know a bunch of you do. Definitely appreciate all the positive feedback, guys. And that's going to do it for today. I will see you on Wednesday for our midweek market update. Don't get wrecked. Don't believe in cults and diamond hands and unicorns. Believe in technicals, not bullshit fundamentals, because some dude told you so. That's it for today. Crypto Trend Trader. It's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. And I'm out of here. Oh, and also, happy Memorial Day, and mad respect and love for those people that have relatives, friends, family members, whatever, that have given their lives for the freedoms that we have in this country. Even though times seem tough right now and it seems like we're losing a lot of those freedoms, remember that the same way the markets go up and down, they breathe in and out, they have cycles, countries and, freedoms are the same way too. We have cycles where we have more freedoms, we have cycles where we have less freedoms, but the most important thing is to remember it's all cyclical, and even though sometimes it seems shitty, it's always the darkest before the dawn, and I really do believe that our future is bright, even though short term it looks really dark and shitty. So there you have it, guys. Crypto Trend Trader, and I'm out of here.